All right, so I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think it's finally time to say goodbye. Welcome everybody, thanks for stopping by. My name is Vico, and today we're going to talk about something that I think a lot of us guitarists struggle with. This guitar right here, this beautiful blue, Lake Placid Blue Telecaster, was my main instrument since I bought it last year. It is a 2012 American Vintage AV64, so 1964 inspired Telecaster. The reason I went for this specific year, apparently between the years of 2012 and 2017, Fender was making these American Vintage models with lacquer and no poly base. And being a little vintage nut that I am, I really liked the idea that I'd buy a guitar that would start wearing as I played it. I love nitro. And I just loved all the vintage appointments that this guitar had. So fast forward to September, this past September, and I was toying with the idea of putting together my own Partscaster. I don't know why, I just did. And it's this one right here. Okay, so this right here is my, I guess, 2024 Mellowcaster. Just a Partscaster, I'm calling it the Mellowcaster. And now this is my main guitar. It's much lighter, still has a lot of vintage appointments, but for some reason I find myself playing it more. And it had me thinking, what changed, you know? How did my main guitar suddenly just get benched? I loved it a lot. I looked forward to playing it every day, to finding it when I went to go buy it. Searched and searched and searched and searched until I finally found it. And then all of a sudden I now barely play it. And so I thought, is it time to sell it? Is it really time to say goodbye to this guitar that I thought I loved and was going to play for the rest of my life? And the answer to that is no. It's I'm not going to sell this guitar. Because as much as I play this one more now, there are still days when I do pick up the other one, the blue one, and play it, and I enjoy it a lot. But what I miss is playing it a lot more. This one, for some reason, lately has just been my main go-to. So then I started thinking, why? Why is that, right? And so let's talk about some of the similarities and differences between these two guitars. All right, oops. Okay, so similarities, obviously they're both Telecasters. I'm a Tele guy, I love Teles. You can do just about any sound you want with a Telecaster. They're both 60s inspired, you know, you got steel saddles and rosewood necks. This one is much lighter, it has a pine body. I actually don't know what kind of wood this is. Alder, ash, whatever. It's a little heavier, but they're both under 8 pounds. I think this one is 7.5 pounds, and this one is about 6.5 or 7 pounds by now, because I changed the neck. So both really light. This one's really light. This one actually has a slight neck dive, which is why the strap I'm using has a little sway to keep it from sliding around. So similarities, again, both Teles, both 60 styles. They both have the rudders. I think they're called rudders, broadcast, compensated. I think they're called the rudders, broadcast, straight steel, compensated saddles. Man, that's a mouthful. So they both have the same saddles, bridge. The blue one, being that it's the American Vintage model, has a 7.25 inch radius, and this one is a neck from Guitar Mill, and it has a 9.5 inch radius. This has the 60s oval neck profile. This has the Guitar Mill standard C neck profile, so it's a little thinner. This one starts to get chunky as you progress up here close to the 12th fret. This one does too, but nowhere near as much as this one right here. The pickups are completely different. These are, I think they're the American Vintage 64 pickups. I'm getting mixed exact reviews when I look up online. But they're just the stock pickups that came with this guitar. Traditional Tele, classic Tele sound. These guys are the Fralin Blues Special, which is essentially a sort of classic Tele pickup that's overwound. I think 5% overwound. I love these pickups. I love these pickups. So a few months ago, I actually went ahead, right after I put the pickups in this guitar, I bought another set of the same pickups to originally swap over to this guitar. And I never did. Part of it was laziness. Part of it was, do I want two guitars that sound basically the same? But this is what happened. I would play this one a lot, and then when I wanted that classic Tele sound, I would pick up this one. But it was only at home. Once I left for a rehearsal, an open mic, or a gig, I'm always bringing this one. And I think the reason is I like how this reacts to overdrive and amps a little better. It has this sort of sparkle. It's quicker to bite, right? Because of the overwound pickups. This one sounds really good once you start overdriving with an amp. It's got like this harshness to it that I like. But I'm not playing this enough. And so I decided that yes, it is time to say goodbye, but not to the guitar, but it's time to say goodbye to these pickups. I'm finally gonna install the Fralin Blues Specials onto this blue guitar. And hopefully I'll start playing both the same, or I can bring this one as my main backup and not have to worry. Or I could change tunings so I could, I don't know any open tunings really, or open tuning songs, but to play around, I don't know. So what I thought I would do today is compare both of them. I'm gonna run through my trusty little Magnatone Starlite amp. It's a 5-watt tube amp that has a pretty interesting circuit. On one side of the tone dial, it's more of a black face sounding amp. And once you go to another side of the tone knob, it's more of a tweed sounding amp. So based off of the size of that amp, the wattage, it's like having a tweed champ and a silver face champ, which I think would be pretty solid way to compare these two guitars, especially since I do use that amp a lot. Enough said, I guess. Let's just start. We're gonna be using a straightforward setup: guitar into reverb pedal into amp. The reverb that I chose for today is the Spring Reverb by Echo Fix. Really fantastic reverb pedal. It's big. There's actual springs inside, which is really cool. You can actually bypass the direct sound to make it full wet. You can use it as a sort of outboard gear if you wanted to. Just awesome. I'm gonna try to have some sort of diagram or something with the settings from the amp. I really don't wanna move the amp, set up lighting and a camera just to have it film the knobs, because I'm really not gonna be changing that much. Well, we're gonna start off with the black face tone settings. On the tone knob, it's set to halfway, which would indicate it's at noon for that tone voicing, and the volume is actually at noon. The negative feedback is on. So this would be your typical classic blackface champ. And we're gonna be starting with the Mellowcaster, the yellow Partscaster I built last year, with the Fralin pickups. Just gonna run through some sounds, neck, middle, bridge, through reverb, and that's it. Let's do it. Okay, so for this setup, it's gonna be straightforward. Just going to be guitars into a reverb pedal, directly into the Magnatone Starlite. We're gonna start with a completely dry, no reverb, and then add reverb. As far as the settings on the amp, I'm not going to take a video of the knobs because I'd have to move the amp, set up lighting, change the camera stuff. Really don't want to do that. So I'm gonna set up a little diagram of not only what the amp settings are, but what the pickup selector is on the guitar. As far as the reverb, I'm just gonna have it just sort of just on. I don't think we need to have the settings for that as well. Maybe I can put that on. I don't know. I'll see. So we're gonna start with the Magnatone on the blackface tone stack. going to be noon on both. And by noon on the tone knob on the Magnatone, really it just means either at 9 or at 3 o'clock because of how the tone knob works. It shifts from blackface to tweed at the actual... Man, this is getting confusing. Doesn't matter. It's going to feel like noon on the tone, and actually on the volume it will be at noon, and the negative feedback switch is on. So essentially this is your typical 5-watt Silverface champ. Starting with the neck pickup on the Mellowcaster, no reverb. Sounds good, very dry, very boring. Now for some reverb fun. Before I continue, I need to say something. I've met a lot of people who either don't like guitar pedals, just like going directly into an amp, and that's totally fine. For me, the beauty of guitar pedals is, you just saw it right there. As soon as I put on the reverb, it just made me play a little different, and that's what pedals bring to the table. So the next time you're wondering whether or not you should have a pedal or not, or on or off, don't think of it that way. Just think about, turn on the pedal and play what you want to play. And the sounds just come out. The pedal is going to make you play a little different. Just like certain guitars and certain amps make you play a little different. Enough ranting. Back to the neck pickup. Middle position. And now the bridge position. And now the bridge position. So yeah, a lot of sounds from just guitar, but that's any guitar, any amp. And while this does sound like, you know, a nice traditional Tele that's got a little heft and fatness to it, it's not very noticeable. When I play this, people don't usually go, "Oh man, that guitar sounds a little hotter than your typical Tele." It doesn't. It's really in the feel. You really do. I really do feel like I can play with more dynamics with this. So let's switch over to the other Tele. Okay, so now we have switched to the blue Telecaster. This is the 2012 American Vintage 64 Telecaster, an absolute beauty of a guitar. And just like I did before, we're gonna run through a quick dry sound of just the neck, really, maybe all 3 pickups, I don't know. This is what it sounds like. I've never really done a comparison side by side like this before, and now I'm noticing this guitar, I don't know if it resonates more unplugged directly into the amp with no reverb. Same settings, nothing's changed. This sounds better to me. It sounds fuller, which, I don't know. Let's do some reverb. Again, no settings have changed on the amp. Reverb is now on, and we are maxed out on tone and volume, whatever. Neck position. Middle position. And now the bridge. Immediately, it's a lot brighter. I hope the sound's coming through, and I'm gonna do no editing on the sound whatsoever, and not because I'm lazy, but because, you know, you'll be able to really hear the difference. The neck position on this is very much brighter. Whoops, sorry, that was the neck, the bridge. I was wondering why the bridge sounded so fat. Okay. Bridge pickup. Okay, so that was both guitars, no pedals other than the reverb pedal, into the Magnatone with the volume at noon and the tone knob at the noon setting with the negative feedback switch on. We're now going to switch to the Tweed setting of the amp, no negative feedback, and we'll see how it sounds. Just give me a second. Since this is already... Okay, since the blue guitar is still plugged in, reverb's still on, I'm just going to use this one first with the Tweed setting on the Magnatone Starlite. Then we'll switch over to the Partscaster. So just as a reminder, now the tone knob is at... nine? Whatever. It's still at noon, and the volume is still at noon, but the negative feedback switch is now off. So it's gonna be a little louder, and it's gonna be a little buzzier, so to speak, a little more hum. And this is what it sounds like. Starting off with the neck pickup. Wow. That's insane. I love the tweed setting on the Magnatone. It's usually how I run it 99% of the time. Whenever I switch to the blackface setting, I think to myself, this sounds really good. I should keep it at this setting. And then I do something like this, or I switch back to the tweed setting and I realize, no, this is a setting that I truly, truly like. Everything's so instant. Like, everything has a punch. Let's go to the middle position. Now we're gonna switch to the bridge position. Blech. Now we're gonna switch to the bridge position. Sorry. Ugh. Man! That is really, really loud. Especially on the bridge pickup because it's so bright. It's really pokey, which, I mean, if that's what you want, right? This can do it. So yeah, these are the stock pickups on the blue guitar, the 2012 American Vintage. These were the tweed sounds. Let's switch over to the Partscaster. You know, every time I switch guitars like this, I realize how much lighter this guitar is. We're gonna start off with the neck position and work our way down. That sounds good. Middle position. And now the bridge position. Man! I don't know if it's a guitar, I don't know if it's the amp, I don't know if it's just because I'm playing loud, and I love a loud amp. Just, the settings that I also have on the amp right now, whether they were the blackface settings or the Tweed amp style settings, are usually how I run my volume and tone in general to begin with. Maybe not at home, usually it's a little dialed down. But if I'm playing out somewhere and I'm going to be miking the amp or just playing anywhere, that's usually around the range that I'm playing at. So in here, it's a little loud. But I really wanted to show what these, guitars could do with just some reverb. So yeah, that was it really. I hope you liked it. I really didn't get too nitty gritty. I didn't want to throw on some pedals. I didn't want to mess around with the volume and tone knob. I just wanted to show you the difference between these two guitars, the pickups, and see how much different they could sound. I don't notice a huge difference unless it was the bridge pickup. The bridge pickup, there's definitely some difference there. This pickup I think has a little more mids. It really, on the black face settings of the amp, it wasn't too noticeable, but the moment we went into the Tweed settings, which already pushes mids a little more, it was a little more noticeable. I hope that comes through, and if it doesn't, just trust me. That's it. Thanks for watching. My name is Vico, and now I have a big decision to make. Do I keep the blue guitar as is, or do I change the pickups? Let me know what you think. Bye.